Welcome to Beat Everyone. I'm Ben Flanagan with AL.com, and it's the off season, but we know that no such thing exists in Tuscaloosa and in the state of Alabama. And we have things like rankings from that are ranking the top 25 college football programs from the last 25 years. We're going to talk about that a little bit. We've got some over-unders that we're going to get into about Alabama this next season and maybe for the foreseeable future. But first, what we want to talk about are these spring meetings with the SEC, or these Destin meetings among the SEC coaches. They're going to be heading down south to the 30A area as they do each spring, and helping us sort of like dissect this and understand this is our good pal and colleague, AL.com Alabama beat writer, Matt Stahl. Matt, how's it going, man?
Going good. About to, head down there. I'm always struck every time somebody says 30A. It's just like how successful that rebrand has been from the Redneck Riviera. But no, it's great to be here. Let's
Well, you're
get into it.
talking Redneck Riviera. I think is more like Orange Beach and Gulf Shores area. 30A, like that's when you're getting like really fancy, right? And you're heading down to like the seaside area, the Sandestin area. Those you're in Florida basically, barely,
I mean that's what they want you.
right?
That's what they want you to think. But I mean, it used to all be kind of under the same thing. So yeah, good job by the rich people rebranding this.
Yeah, they're great. I love it all, man. Beach is the beach to me. I just got back from down there, and I had a great time, and you will too. Well, Matt, we hear all the time SEC spring meetings, right? Like, and we know that the coaches all gather and they're talking about various things, rule changes, conference realignment, all sorts of things that impact the conference and thus impact their programs directly. And there's a direct impact on the fan experience with these meetings. But can you kind of take us through, since you've been down there and you're going down there again, what exactly is the point of these meetings? What are they gathering for? What do they hope to accomplish typically?
I mean, they could hold them on Zoom, but I think a large part of this is like it is a opportunity. All these coaches, show up. A lot of people bring their families down there. It's a good opportunity to get away for a few days. But I mean, at its core, it's just governance meetings, really. The coaches meet, the athletic directors meet, the presidents meet. They'll consider sort of various rules proposals, and but yeah, I mean, it's really pretty boring stuff. At like the crux of it, like I mean, a few years ago, I think we all sort of got. I think the most interesting part was like where they were seating coaches in the room during the like Jimbo Saban beef.
Okay. So
But
we
it's
read into that stuff is what we do. That's
yes,
our job to do that.
yeah, it's for the most part, it's just governance meetings. Then they decide to hold in pseudo exotic location.
Okay. Well, you say pseudo exotic. We'll dive into that a little bit later, Matt. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I wonder if it's just kind of like to get down there and get to the beach once they run through the agenda and the PowerPoint presentations and discussion are all over. Does that mean like Kirby comes up to Lane and says, "Hey, let's go get some oysters somewhere"? Like, are they hanging out? Are they pulling up beach chairs on the shores of the 30A area and kind of hanging out together? Or do you think that they all go their separate ways? Like, is this an opportunity for the SEC coaches? We've heard about like, the Kiffin, Smart, and others text thread. Are they pals on this trip?
Oh yeah, I think so. That yes, a lot of them they're there with their family, so they're going to go get some beach time. A lot of them they'll go get some golf time in, which any of them want to call me and invite me on the golf outing. Yeah, I'm easily reachable. There's some social events for all the coaches. There's I believe, an awards dinner at some point. There's a bonfire. A whole bunch of social stuff. You hear rumor of a party bus that happened at one point.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is just spend some time with your family, see your friends from across the league, see your enemies from across the league. Yeah, it's just a lot of social fun out there.
I'm going to say, forget about the 18 holes, Matt. Don't worry about that. We're going to need you on the party bus. Okay. So once you get on that thing, report back pronto.
Why
All right.
not both? That's
Why
all
not
I'm
both?
saying.
Hey, man, and throw the bonfire in there too. That sounds interesting. Well, what about this year? What are they talking about this year? What are they governing? What's at the top of the agenda?
I mean, by all reports, it sounds like the 9-game schedule we've been talking about for conservatively 100 years could finally come to pass. I guess it would probably start 26, I believe, but finally getting to just a scheduling model where you're actually seeing all the teams in the SEC, and I want to say it still would be the three permanent opponents. So, like, I believe that's going to be sort of the top line news item from this thing.
I just got out of the new Mission Impossible movie, and there's constant cutting to the levels of DEF CON, right? And it goes from like 4 all the way up to 1. So with this potential 9-game conference schedule, like this has an impact on all of college football, the entire sport, not just the SEC, right? Because this is going to impact ultimately how many SEC teams get into the college football playoff, which now has 12 teams, which could obviously grow sooner than later. Who knows? What DEF CON would you put this at in terms of the impact that it's going to have on college football?
So 1 is the highest.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, it's probably a solid 2. Like, it's gonna affect a lot because you don't know what it means for non-con schedules going forward because you're just losing a week of that. To me, that probably affects your Group of 5 game more than it affects like your matchups with Wisconsin or whatever. Like, so that goes down the line, right? Like, a lot of these schools sort of rely on that check uh, that they'll pick up just to go be a body bag game to fund their athletic department for the year. So that could be a big loss if it goes that way. I mean, otherwise, I mean, it could just be we don't see as many interesting games between SEC and like Big 12 or ACC teams as we used to. Like, how does this affect? Kentucky Louisville's a rivalry that they play every year. That's cross. South Carolina Clemson is a game. Like, games like that, I think could really be impacted by something like this. So I, it's hard to answer because you don't really know exactly what it looks like yet or how the teams are going to react to this once it does happen. But it could certainly be a major impact.
That was a big part of the conversation. The whole narrative about Alabama and other teams not making the college football playoff last year was, I thought strength of schedule meant something around here, right? Like we already play in the toughest conference, and then you throw in playing Wisconsin on the road and whomever else. Alabama over the years, especially during the Saban years, they had fairly tough non-conference schedules, at least against one team per season when they were going through the gauntlet of the SEC. Otherwise, when they would play Michigan, when they would play Virginia Tech, and they would schedule USC and all of these other powers in the greater college football in these other conferences. And so now you had all these people asking, well, what's the point if it's not going to change the perspective that people have on Alabama or any other team that plays a similar schedule? Then maybe we lean harder into the cupcakes, and that seems to be where people are worried this might lead, and that could have kind of a diluting impact on the college football experience for fans. So do you think that we see more quote unquote cupcake games if this is adopted?
Potentially, I think the Alabama industrial complex has done a very good job sort of retconning how last season actually went because it was not playing Wisconsin that cost them a chance at the playoffs. It was losing 3 games, including bad Vanderbilt team, bad Oklahoma team, or 500 Vanderbilt and Oklahoma teams, right? So the idea that it's for some reason like a strength of schedule issue is to me like probably something that these schools already wanted to do, and they sort of found their public excuse to do so. But yes, there's a long way of saying yes. I think we could get to that point where perhaps we don't see as many like really, really good helmet matchups, things that sort of bring in. Although, on the flip side of this, those are TV ratings drivers, right? Like people want to see Alabama play Wisconsin, LSU play USC in Vegas. Like they want to see those things. So, uh, again, you hate to sound like a lawyer on here, but all sort of yet to be determined.
First of all, how dare you? Because Alabama, that was the case that they had, and that's the one that they had to make, right? And even they tried a Nick Saban out there to make the strength of schedule case for Alabama when they ultimately were on the outside looking in when it came to the playoff. And another how dare you? A bad Vanderbilt team, a 6-6 Vanderbilt team is a good Vanderbilt team. Matt, we must all remember that. You especially, where you come from, sir. Well, I mean, in terms of the new changes, right? Like part of the proposed new changes would include an SEC Big Ten scheduling arrangement. How would Alabama's non-conference scheduling be impacted as it relates to the Big Ten potentially?
Yeah, it sounds like there'll be some, like, I guess, sell a TV package between some SEC and Big Ten teams, and like you would figure Alabama would play a big role in that. Just because, I mean, I've said this before, like whatever TV network would buy something like that does not want Mississippi State playing Purdue on national television. Like it's not a ratings driver, but like Alabama USC, which would be a fun game anyway, even if it wasn't part of the TV pack. Like Alabama Penn State, LSU playing, whatever. Just you want to see the big teams on the big teams. So I think it could really lead to some interesting just helmet games for Alabama. And you hope that doesn't come at the expense of some of the fun games that are kind of already on the schedule. Like I think in a few years, going to West Virginia, this got this little series with Florida State, like stuff like that. You hope can survive something like this.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm still wrapping my head around USC being part of the Big Ten, first of all, but you have to think that again for the fan experience and also for the revenue that these kinds of games can generate for the schools and ultimately for the conference. Like Penn State and USC coming to Bryant Denny Stadium is obviously much different from, no offense, Western Kentucky and UT Chattanooga coming to Tuscaloosa. So you would think that if cupcakes are on the horizon, more of them, that's just going to be bad for business. Like when it comes to how much money they make when there's a power conference coming to town versus one of these FCS schools in the past. So I know that we don't have the stats right in front of us, but you have to think that from a revenue standpoint, Alabama in particular would take a hit.
Yeah, potentially. I don't know, because I mean, you can also like if you've got USC coming to town, you can charge a like way higher ticket rate than. Sorry to my beloved alma mater, Western Kentucky, but
We can use a different one. I'm sorry to
like
pick on that one.
no, get what? Shout out to Conference
How
USA
about
baseball
Mercer? Let's throw
champions.
Mercer out there.
Yeah, Mercer. You
Yeah,
can
pick on
charge a
Mercer.
higher ticket rate, and also like, I mean, this TV package would be lucrative for the schools.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know that you're actually taking that huge a hit on revenue. I suppose it also depends like how many games do you have to buy out
Mm-hmm.
because of this, right? Like, you ran into it with Missouri a few years ago, right? Like the previous athletic director had scheduled some like really stupid games where they were going to UMass and they were supposed to go to Memphis or whatever. And they were trying to get out of that UMass game for sure. I was told point blank that game will not be played in Massachusetts. But turns out like buying out these games is like really, really expensive at times. And like even if you're Alabama, like are you really wanting to come off of like multiple millions of dollars to buy out, Little Sisters of the
No,
Poor University? Right. So like that'd be the hit to look at. But I think revenue wise, this TV package would probably do enough to at least get you like even on the books for a little bit, and then you really start making some money later on.
no, we've been told many times publicly that Alabama doesn't have the money for much, and let alone buying out these games. So no, I don't think they want to do that. All right, well, under this new proposed system, right, where you have 9 SEC games on the schedule, and don't forget, Alabama played 10 SEC games just a few seasons ago in 2020, the COVID year, when it was all SEC, and look where that got them. People, they ran through that gauntlet, and people think they're the best team ever. And that's one of the big reasons. But let's talk about some over unders. If this new system is in place, what it might look like for Alabama specifically. So Matt, put on your odds maker hat here and just make the picks. I'm going to give you over unders. So under the new proposed system, we'll say over under 7.5 playoff appearances, 7.5 playoff appearances for Alabama in the next 10 years. We're looking that far ahead. How much does this help Alabama?
Boy, whew, the odds maker was a gump here. Uh, boy, at 7.5 is a lot, man. Like,
It is.
God, I mean, not knowing how things are going to work out, you got to go the under. But like, I don't know. I don't know that that's bad. Like, well, if you're going to a 16 team and you have 4 auto bids or whatever ridiculous number, this frankly pretty soft proposal
Just
gives
say
the
under.
SEC.
Just say under. You know you
Yeah,
want to say
under,
under.
but I think it would be like I 6.5 was where I'd like really have a debate. 7.5 is just a ton,
Yeah,
you know.
that's a lot. We won't name the odds maker here, but they're not pictured. They're listening right now. I'll just say that. But yeah, it does make you wonder about this past season, right? Like 3-loss Alabama thought that they had a case to get into the 12-team playoff. I think in the future, the idea here is that a 3-loss Alabama or a 3-loss SEC team, because they've played a 9-game SEC schedule, that gives them more of a case to make it, right? Like that's part of this design.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, 4 auto bids. There's a lot of ways to make this playoff. So, like, would it shock me if they got to like 8? No, but I don't know. I just can't stomach going over 7.5. Really.
So in the Kalen DeBoer era, let's say he's here. Let's say he's here for 10 years, right? And things work out, right? And Kalen DeBoer has done well, and he's adapting to this system, and he has made it his own. How many 3-loss seasons would you give Kalen DeBoer over the next 10 years?
Well, if he's going to be here 10 years, not that many, right?
You would think.
Although, yeah, I mean, you're getting into like as they expand the playoff, like, can you make the playoff as a like 3 or 4 loss team? Maybe that changes, but it wouldn't be that many. Like if he's gonna be here 10 years, like I don't know, like 2.
All right. Well, a little unrelated here. Let's just keep playing over under, and we can do Gump edition. 7.5 over under 7.5 Iron Bowl wins in the next 10 years. Matt, how do you see it falling in Alabama's favor?
Boy, I mean, you'd say over, but you gotta go to Auburn every other year. So I mean, we've established that place is pretty haunted.
Yeah.
7.5. Hey, give me the over, but I think the Auburn wins will be fairly memorable and pretty heartbreaking, as they tend to be.
The type that they replay decades in the future, right? Remember that game? Like even when it has nothing to do with it. Remember this? This happened. Just thought we'd remind you, Alabama fans who are watching, gritting your teeth. Okay, the next one, over under 3 Alabama quarterbacks drafted in the first round over the next 10 years. We're sticking with
Ooh,
10 years.
I like that one. First round.
First round guys.
All right, first round. I'd probably go under just because that's really, really hard to do.
Yeah.
Like again, you could convince me that there's 3 or 4, but it's just really, really hard to be a first round QB. So yeah, we'll see. And also, like, I don't know, like, how much is the NFL? Obviously, you're going to continue to value the first round QB, but like the way the college football world is moving, like, you know, just with guys jumping around, I wonder how ready some of the current guys are for the NFL. Does the NFL like change its draft strategy because like they're not getting the quarterbacks that they want out of it, or the quality of quarterback that they want? So I don't know. I'll go under, but you could convince me either way on
I
that
think
one.
that's safe. I think that's safe. Okay, here's another one. And we were presuming or assuming that Kalen DeBoer would have a pretty good decade, but this one kind of turns that on its head. Over under 2.5 head coaches for Alabama in the next 10 years, Matt.
2.5 over the next 10 years. Boy, things have gone wrong if you
Yes.
get over
We're going the other way
on
with
them.
it.
Yeah, boy, there's some trouble brewing if you get to the over. Boy, y'all are gonna get me yelled at by somebody in that building with
No.
these. Uh,
Plead the fifth if you must. I mean, but it would make your job very interesting, to say the least.
yes, it would. I mean, I'll go under just
Yeah.
because again, that's a high number.
I think under two. I think under two. Again, like I don't know what whoever made these, or they're out of their mind. It may or may not be a producer that's been on this show before. I don't know. We'll see. All right, last one for you here. I think this one's kind of interesting, just given the status of the two programs right now. Matt Stahl, will Alabama football or basketball have more Elite Eight appearances over the next decade?
Football. I think it's
Whoa.
good. Yeah, I think it's going to be football, and it's just I don't know, it's some questions I have sort of about the basketball thing. Like again, how long is Nate Oates going to be here? I think that will play a big role into it. But also, like, I mean, the SEC is really, really awesome at basketball right now. But if this rev sharing thing goes through as it is, I think every SEC basketball program, probably including Kentucky, is going to get boned because, like, you're going to have to spend so much money on football. Meanwhile, like, there's other conferences where basketball, like the Big East being the big example, like if you're Alabama, I don't think you can justify putting like 7, 8 million rev share into basketball in a year. Like your football fans will revolt. So can you do it on a reduced budget while like, the St. John's of the world can kind of put their whole thing into that? Like we'll see. So like I mean Alabama football being Alabama football, I think they find a way. And yeah, I think they'll be in the Elite Eight more. And it's just also, I mean, the basketball side, you got to get through some games to get to the Elite Eight, right? Like
It's hard to do, man. That's why
single
they have.
elimination tournament, it's unbelievably difficult. So yeah, I got to go football here.
Well, that's why they have so few of those Elite Eight banners in Coleman Coliseum, right? Because it's tough to do. But they've got more than they've ever had because of the current era that we're in under Nate Oates. But yeah, you're back in the good graces of the Gumps and of the people in that building that you referenced there with that answer, I think, with the football answer, Matt. So good stuff. And we can't wait to see what we learn from the SEC spring meetings. And you'll be down there and you and our other friends will be reporting on it. But before you go, I want a quick reaction from you because the Athletic's Stuart Mandel just released a list that has gotten a big reaction from college football fans online. It's the best college football programs since 2000, Matt. And I think you've seen this list now, and I'll just count down the top five. Okay. The top five are at number 5, LSU, number 4, Georgia, number 3, Oklahoma, number 2, Alabama, and number 1, Ohio State. Matt, you've looked at this entire list now. You only just looked at it, so you're still processing it. But what do you think of this? What do you think of Ohio State over Alabama since 2000? Is that fair?
Do you agree?
That's what I'm
I'll,
asking you.
yeah. See, since 2000 gives Ohio State, I think, a little better argument here, just because I mean they were so consistent through the Tressel years. I mean, people forget there was that season where they went undefeated, but in Urban's first year, but were ineligible to make the postseason. I mean, they probably would have won the national championship that year. That team was unbelievable, even as like sanctioned as they were from the just dumb tattoo scandal they had. But I mean, that's so many national championships from Alabama, and they were really, really good even in the years that they weren't. I mean, part of this for me, I think I would put Alabama ahead of Ohio State, but like part I was also 3 years old in 2000. Like I don't remember some of these
Read a
teams.
book,
Like,
man. Go
yeah,
go read a book. Watch some highlights.
I
You
mean,
know?
one of the first guy I remember watching the Heisman ceremony was Troy Smith.
Wow.
So I mean, who potentially the worst player to ever win the Heisman
Oh,
Trophy?
wow. Okay. So now we know
Like,
where you really stand on Ohio
I
State.
mean, I think I'm not saying he wasn't a deserving winner, but I
He
mean,
was
just
great.
not the most memorable guy. But yeah, I mean, I was 10 when Saban showed up in Tuscaloosa, so
Dear God.
that's all I remember, right? It's just this era of Alabama dominance. Like I don't really remember any of the like. I mean, it got pretty. If you think about it, it got pretty rough there in the
Well,
early
yeah,
2000s.
points
So
against Alabama for 2000 through 2007, right? Like
yeah,
you're basically talking about more than half of an entire decade with what they're talking about here. But once it all started in 2008, you're talking about 6 national championships. What? How many? Nine national title game appearances. They're
yeah,
about 4 Heisman winners. How many SEC championships? How many All Americans? How many draft picks, et cetera? Like Alabama outnumbers everybody. But I guess if you're just talking about consistency from the year 2000 to the year 2025, maybe that's the case, right? That Ohio State has. They've been so consistent and they've hired so well with Tressel and Urban Meyer and now Ryan Day. So it's been good for them to say the least. But if you're just talking about the stats, the numbers, the success. I don't know how you go against Alabama, man. Like, I'm not going to say that he's wrong necessarily, because I like to hear the case, and Ohio State has been very good, and they're the reigning national champs. So who can really say much about them right now? But golly, man, like I think you make a list like this. We're in this business too, Matt. You make a list like this to provoke a response and to start a conversation and to drive engagement, right? There's
Yeah.
that word, and that's what they have done. So good on them for doing that. We're talking about it. I just wanted your take.
Yeah.
I wanted to know if you agree.
Yeah. No, I can't. I'm not mad at it. I would probably rank Alabama higher. Looking down the list, there's some Florida at 10. Like, are you kidding? Florida had a few good years. Like, they were done being good by 2010, right? Like, they haven't done anything like really memorable since then. Like, yeah, that seems like the overrank to me. I mean, Notre Dame is below them. Florida State is below them. Um, man, like
You get into the weeds
Mi
here. Like once you
Michigan's
get,
below them.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like that to me is the like wild kind of overranking here is just thinking about like how bad it got at Florida post Urban, and like it's still not all that great over at Florida. That's the big one for me here.
yeah, and I think that Auburn is 15th. They're the lowest ranked
Yeah,
team on this list to have won a national title. Not that that matters, but yeah, ahead of them, Miami, who hasn't been very good for a long time. Notre Dame, who I think should probably be a little higher, just considering they've played in national title games.
yeah,
They've made the playoff. They've made the BCS championship, and then Florida
yeah,
State at number 12. I mean, I
yeah.
guess I think like
USC's also an overrank here,
you think,
right? Like USC. I mean, they're the first team I remember being just like unbelievable,
yeah.
like Death Star program back in the Pete Carroll years. But again, it's been bad for going like 15 years now, and it doesn't like it doesn't seem like it's getting all that much better. Like they've had a Heisman winner, but they haven't really won anything of note. And you're putting them up ahead of, I don't know. I don't know that I'd put them ahead of Texas, Michigan.
They're in that
Yeah,
dangerous college football program limbo area right now where you're waiting on them to be back, right? Where
yeah,
like networks and magazines and people who write about college football, I say magazine like it's a term that people still use in a business that still operates, but you have these people who, like, for so many years people wanted Texas to be back. They wanted Notre Dame to be back. They want Miami to be back. The same is true with Florida right now. The same is true with Florida State, I'm sure, for a lot of people, Penn State. Like, it's good for college football when these programs are good. And that's just a place where you don't want to be, because so many of those programs just come up short when it matters most. They don't put together a championship contending season, and it takes them a while and a few coaches. And that's where Alabama obviously doesn't want to be. They want to keep competing, and that's why it's important that this new system benefits Alabama tremendously moving forward. But anyway, interesting list, Matt.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. South Carolina, Southern Cal. Are we gonna call them West Coast Tennessee? I think that seems fair to
I,
me.
I, I just, I, again, man, I can't. The whole Big Ten, USC, UCLA thing. That's not Big Ten is not West Coast, and vice versa. It's just so strange to me. But it's a different era, Matt. We're living in the era of the new Big Ten. But before we go, Matt, you're going down to Destin, right? It's the beach area. When you go down there, are you a seafood guy? Do you get a hankering for, like, grilled shrimp or po' boys, or what's your seafood go to when you go down to the beach?
Oh man, any place down there that's like, big scratchy seafood hole or whatever, all those places seem have very similar genre
Yeah,
of seafood joint with, everything fried. Yeah, I'll get into some
yeah.
shrimp, get into I like some fried oysters. Yeah,
I'm with you,
and
man. So like like a peg leg Pete's type thing, like,
yes.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love that stuff.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's a sort of uniquely like Florida experience down there. Like, yeah, I'll for sure get into some seafood. The one thing I don't do, I love raw oysters. I don't do raw oysters on work trips because think about every person you know who's got like horrendous food poisoning, and like 60% of them are probably from a bad oyster, right? Like, I'm not,
Smart.
I don't play that risk when I've got to like
I can't do the raw
do
oysters.
things.
I can't
Oh
do the
man,
raw oysters, man. The horseradish and all that. Are you all in?
I love it, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll sit there. I'll sit at an oyster bar just all day and drink Miller Lights and eat oysters. I love it. But yeah, not this time around down there.
Sounds like a good time. Hey, and if you can't settle for 18 holes of golf with any of those coaches, there's always putt-putt, Matt. So good luck to you. Safe travels to you covering the spring meetings. Follow Matt Stahl in his coverage. You can read his stuff on AL.com. Matt, thanks for doing this.
Oh, anytime. Thanks for having me.
Matt Stahl, go check him out, read his stuff. You can find Beat Everyone wherever you get your podcasts, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, where you can watch us. And until next time, I am Ben Flanagan with AL.com. Thanks for joining us.